And we are live.
Hello, and welcome to the Cult Classic Movie Corner. My name is Terje Tiberius Mørk, or as you like to call me over there in those Americas, Terje. I'm here today hosting the program with Steve Foley, who will be producing the show and co-hosting for the moment. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Terje, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine. Understandably nervous about doing my first live show with an own show about cult classic movies, but I'm also excited. It's going to be fun. I hope people who watch it will enjoy it, and I hope I have at least 10% intelligible things to say.
Yeah, I think you'll do fine. You're doing fine. So welcome everybody to the Cult Classic Movie Corner. So I'm co-hosting for the time being, but we are looking for a co-host for the show. So if you have good camera, good setup, good mic, and good on camera, and you want to host, and first of all, you have to have great knowledge of cult movies, right? Or the willingness to go and do all the research, which means
curiosity can get you pretty far.
Yeah. Go ahead and let us know. You can contact us through our website. Just go to www.fantasmagoriumshow.com. Go up to the contact us and fill out the form. And let us know that you want to co-host the show with Terje. I think that would be a lot of fun. We'll do quick little auditions. It's not going to be a big, interview process or any of that kind of nonsense. We just kind of we'll talk to you real quick. We'll probably have you send in a quick little video about yourself, and then Terje will pick who he wants to co-host with. But I think it'll be a fun kind of thing to do as we go and as we grow the show. So but I'm happy to fill in and sit in until that happens. I do have a confession to make though. You gave me homework. Yeah. You said go watch Ravenous.
Yeah.
So last weekend I did. I watched Ravenous, and I'm watching this movie, and about halfway through, I'm like, okay. Well, first of all, there's subtitles, and I'm like, oh, I'm not averse to the subtitles. I like subtitles. I didn't shut the movie off or anything. I'm like, okay. About halfway through the movie, I'm like, where the hell is Robert Carlyle? I don't see no Robert Carlyle in this movie. By the end of the show, I'm like, what? So the movie was okay, but I'm thinking, what's the big deal here? And why is everybody raving about this movie? Because this is like, it's okay. It's, French-Canadian movie, and it's all in French. But what makes this like a cult classic? Well, I'll come to find out, I watched the wrong movie.
Oh, good job. Good job.
What a moron. So,
well,
it happens. I watched a movie called Ravenous, but it's a French-Canadian film that probably should remain safely anonymous. So I didn't watch this movie, but I will do my best to ask the proper questions at the proper time when you're running down the what you love about the film. Oh,
you can play the part of the curious guy who knows nothing.
That's right.
And that's
or in other words, Scotty R37.
Hi,
Scott.
There on Scotty. Oh dear. Also from Canada. So we have a connection there. Welcome to the show, everyone. Yep. I hope to see a lot of people contributing in the chat, and I hope to see regulars coming week after week. The concept with this show, under the umbrella of the Fantasmagorium show channel, is to be a shorter show than the Fantasmagorium show itself, and probably shorter than a couple of the other shows the channel does. Each week, we are going to have one movie, for the time being at least, the plan now, that's going to be discussed and viewed. Sometimes it might be a movie I've picked out of my own collection. Maybe it's a movie I've seen a lot of times, like today, Ravenous. I've seen this movie 10, 12 times maybe. It's one of my favorite cult classics. But I'm also planning to go on an adventure with the audience. I really want people to suggest cult movies that they want me to watch, that they themselves enjoy. Maybe some of those people will be a guest on the show to tell us why they love the show. I really want this show to be all about audience participation. I also want to bring on guests, and I'm not going to reveal who's going to be the guest next week, but I have already been in contact with a cool guy who is going to be a guest on next week's show. What movie we're going to be seeing and discussing next week, we will reveal in the end of the episode. And the concept with that is that the audience who watches this show will have about a week to maybe get a chance to watch the movie if they want to, if they haven't seen it before. So they can come in and be a part of the discussion in the comments and kind of make this show about me, you, another host, and of course the audience.
Come for Terje and stay for the homework.
Yeah. This show is about cult movies and homework.
Yep.
Sounds
that's going to
boring,
be great.
But it's going to be fun. Yeah.
No, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
So do you want to jump into this week's title?
Yeah, I'll say a few words about Ravenous. Sure. Ravenous is a movie that was released in 1999. It had a budget of approximately $12 million, but it only made slightly above $2 million in the box office. And I'm going to say something about what makes a movie a cult movie. There's like 3 different ways that are mostly known for being how a cult movie becomes a cult movie. It is, in the first place, it's a movie that bombed at the box office. It made little money. Maybe it got poor reviews, but for some reason, the movie kind of finds traction in the home video market. And it gains a cult following. Another example of a cult movie will be a movie that's so horribly bad that it's ridiculously entertaining, like Tommy Wiseau's The Room, which is a movie he made in all seriousness, which is a mess from beginning to end. And it's hilarious to watch.
It is.
And then you have movies like Rocky Horror Picture Show, which we discussed earlier in one of the Fantasmagorium show broadcasts, that I have not seen it. I have never seen the Rocky Horror Picture Show, and that's one of the biggest cult movies ever.
Right.
So that's a movie I'm going to be visiting with this show, and that's also a concept that I'm gonna view movies, of course, that I haven't seen.
I have a question, Terje, if you don't mind me interrupting.
Of course.
Would you consider First Blood a cult classic movie? Because I think First Blood did not do well at the box office. It did, however, got rave, reviews. I think it lived its life mainly on VHS and rentals.
I haven't looked into it, so I don't know if it's a cult movie, but I also do believe that it didn't get like the greatest reviews and reception when it came out, but it spawned like 4 sequels.
Right.
And Rambo, of course, is a household name. It's like, if you haven't heard about Rambo, you aren't obviously not into movies.
Yeah, I think I bring that up because a lot of times cult classic movies are people consider to be in the horror genre, but cult classics can span all genres.
Absolutely. So let's mention a movie that is obviously a cult classic movie, which is by no means in the horror genre, and that is Blade Runner from 1982.
Correct.
That movie did not do well at the box office, and it got really piss poor reviews when it came out. Yeah. Harrison Ford had a horrible time. He hated the movie. But today, I think, I don't have it in front of me, but I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might be at like place number 160 or something on the IMDb list of the top 250 movies ever made. Right. Yeah, so that's quite a comeuppance for a movie from 1982, climbing the ladder. So yeah, cult movies does not have to be about blood, gore, and cannibalism like Ravenous is.
Right.
So the movie was released by Fox Searchlight, which is like a subsidiary of Fox that focuses on independent movies. The production was quite troubled because only after 2 weeks into the production, the director, Milcho Manchevsky, was fired because he was apparently very difficult to work with. What happened then was that Fox wanted to replace him with a guy called Raja Gosnell, who has made movies like Scooby-Doo 1 and 2, Big Mama's House, Never Been Kissed, and Home Alone 3. That did not go well for the cast and crew, who were convinced that that was not the person who could make this vision come alive. So what happened was that Robert Carlyle, he reached out to a woman he had worked with earlier on a movie called Priest. Her name is Antonia Bird, and she somewhat reluctantly agreed to come in and step in as the director of the movie. And she only had 1 single week to prepare for the movie before they started shooting. She had tried making movies in Hollywood before, but she wasn't impressed with the way the studios meddle with everything. And she wasn't really tempted, but she decided to do this as a favor for her friend, Robert Carlyle. And the movie turned out amazing, in my opinion. So, like, Fox had no idea how to market the movie. If you'll bring up the picture of the poster, you can tell it's like, how are they gonna? Let's market this movie. It's called Ravenous. It's like big red. There's a mouth trying to eat you through the cover. It's about cannibalism in like the Old West. What the hell are we going to do with this? And they couldn't find out what to do, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why it did so poorly.
You are who you eat.
You are who you eat. Yeah, basically, you really are who you eat, because a part of the film's story is that if you eat someone else, you kind of take over some of their spirit and power, and you yourself become more powerful.
Interesting.
But that doesn't come across at all with like the poster, the marketing. If you go on YouTube and watch the trailer, it's horrible. It seems like some kind of comedic stoner movie about some people struggling with some angry cannibals. Yeah.
Scotty posted it.
It does not work.
It's bad.
Yeah, he had a really good comment. He said it's a really poor trailer for a really good movie, and that is absolutely true.
And we've seen that so many times.
Oh yeah. So like the movie today, it has 7 out of 10 on IMDb. It has a 49% fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and it has 3.4 of a total of 4 possible on Deep Focus Review. So this is a movie that a lot of people love and has really grown in popularity since it was released in 1999. So I'm going to say a little something about the plot of the movie. It is partially and very loosely based or inspired by the Donner Party disaster of 1947. And the movie itself also takes place between 1847 and 1848. So the plot revolves around Captain John Boyd, played by Guy Pearce. He is sent to Fort Spencer after surviving and capturing an enemy post during the Mexican-American War. He manages this through both luck and cowardice, and the brass has to award him somehow. His award is a promotion to a shitty and forgotten fort. And after arriving at his new post, Boyd and his regiment aid a wounded frontiersman who turns up on their doorstep. His name is F.W. Colquhoun, and played by Robert Carlyle. He recounts a horrifying tale of a wagon train murdered by its supposed guide, a vicious U.S. Army colonel named Ives, who has apparently gone rogue. Fearing the worst, the regiment of Fort Spencer heads out into the wilderness to verify Colquhoun's gruesome claim. And that is kind of where the movie kicks off into high gear, because then you have this amazing group of basically losers who have been placed at Fort Spencer, because it's kind of the reject fort where they like place all the losers. There's like apparent drug abuse. The guy who is the doctor in the fort, he's a veterinarian and he has never met a bottle he didn't like. Then you have like the macho guy who just stands outside in a stream of cold water just shouting because he's so tough. And then you have David Arquette playing a guy at the fort who really likes to smoke peyote with the local Indian, who also lives there with his sister Martha, who is kind of like a mother figure to a lot of these rejects.
Right. We do have a couple of stills. You want me to pop those up? So here's
push them up.
Yeah.
To the left there, you have Boyd, who is played by Guy Pearce, and then you have Jeffrey Jones playing Colonel Hart, who is kind of the chief of the Fort Spencer.
Yeah, nice.
We also have Carlyle. There we have Robert Carlyle in the persona of Ives, I guess, because the thing that happens, well, this is going to be a show where we speak about the whole movie. So
spoilers.
Forever and ever, there is a spoiler alert here.
Yes.
The thing is, he arrives at the fort and says his name is Colquhoun. Colonel Ives has kind of attacked and killed all the others. Maybe he's eaten them. But there's like a lingering thing in the movie where you never really get an answer, but I am convinced, at least, that he has all along been Colonel Ives. It might be a possibility, at least, because they go back and there's a thing in the movie about counting the amount of bodies, and there's a plot point there where you if you're clever, you'll kind of catch it.
Yeah.
But of course, they come to this cave. There's no survivors, and Colquhoun turns batshit crazy on them, killing them. And part of the story of the movie is that the movie is kind of like an allegory for Manifest Destiny, which, as many might know, is like a 19th century doctrine or belief that the expansion of the United States throughout the American continents was both justified and inevitable. And kind of what happened with Manifest Destiny is that the American people, no offense, were kind of just wandering through America, devouring the country and just growing in power. Of course, like subjugating the Native Americans and just claiming everything for themselves. And that's also kind of what happens in this movie. There's like a mythical aspect to it. It's not a typical cannibal movie that's just about, oh, this is a nasty person who likes to eat human flesh. Right. No, there's like a mythical element there, where the thing is that if you eat the flesh of another, you yourself grow more powerful. So in the end of the movie, both the character of both Guy Pearce and Robert Carlyle have both been feasting on flesh, and they have this amazing fight, which seems this is not a Marvel movie fight, which is like stunt coordinated with like 700 coordinators and kung fu specialists. This is just two guys going at it, trying to just
beat the shit out of each other.
Yeah, beat the shit out of each other, and it seems very real and poignant to like the way the movie is set up. The movie also has a lot of really great black humor, which I appreciate.
Me too.
So there's like this really cool quote, which is one of my favorites in the movie, where Colonel Ives, Robert Carlyle's character, is making a stew. And Major Knox, the drunken veterinarian I was talking about, says to him, "Do you need any help?" And Colonel Ives responds, "No, though perhaps later you might contribute." Which, of course, is the fact that, I'm going to put you in this stew in a while. And that's just like small details that make this movie so fun to watch. And also, this is the kind of movie where you see it the first time, everything is a surprise. But when you see it the second time, you can see all these foreshadowings, and you can pay attention to so many great details that kind of make it better. it's just good how they're blending like the frontier westernism with like mythical powers and cannibalism. The movie has an amazing score by Michael Nyman, who people might know from The Piano and Gattaca. And he made this music together with Damon Albarn, who is a British guy who is the front figure of bands like Blur and Gorillaz. And that's a pretty strange mix. Right. Going like a real classical film composer and doing a score together with a British pop rock guy. But the result is an amazing soundtrack, and I'm going to sound like the biggest nerd, but when I watched this movie the first time, it was in the golden ages of when you went to the video rental store.
Yeah.
I don't remember when, but this movie was released direct to video in Norway. There was no theatrical run for this movie. Right. And the cover just stared at me. The one you showed earlier with the mouth, the redness, the "you are who you eat." And me and a couple of friends, we were like, "Oh, that looks interesting." We flipped it over, the big VHS cover, read about the story, and we were like, "Yep, we're getting this." So we go back to my place, we pop it in, and immediately when the movie starts, the music is just out of this world. It's so different. It's not perfect. It's like some parts of the music, they've really made an effort to make it sound unperfect and odd. And to me, it just sucked me in immediately. And right after watching the movie, I went to my local record store and I was like, "Do you have the Ravenous soundtrack?" And by some strange coincidence, he had. Wow, because cool. the guy who ran the store was a huge Michael Nyman fan.
Oh wow!
So it was right there in the shelf, and I got it. And I used to drive around in my car listening to this crazy soundtrack, where probably everyone who heard me open my window or my doors thought I was some creepy guy.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So, what do you think? You saw the wrong movie, but
I
from
saw the wrong movie.
My presentation, is this something you think you'd like?
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know, because when I grew up, we didn't, it wasn't streaming or anything like that. It was going to the video store, catching a movie like you just did. Yeah, that looks like this, and like, okay, that's silly. But let me read the back. So you always grabbed it, read the back, read the synopsis, and said, "Yep." And this would have been right up my alley. So I will definitely watch. In fact, if you want to see this movie, you haven't seen it, or you want to rewatch, it is available just about anywhere you rent on streaming. I know Amazon has it for $4. Shudder has it. Movie Phone, all the places that you can rent movies. So yeah, dude, I totally want to see this movie. It sounds a lot better than the movie that I mistakenly watched. So I'll be watching that this weekend, and maybe I'll give you my thoughts real quickly on our next
show.
episode.
We can open with like your 2 cents of the movie.
Yeah, awesome. So let's go over to the
basically my presentation. Let's see what people are saying about the movie. Maybe someone has seen it. Maybe someone wants to see it.
Maybe.
Who knows?
We'll see. Let's see. We've got a bunch of hellos. Kind of skip through the hellos here and get to the meaty stuff.
Hellos.
Let's see. We got a hello, everyone. Hellos. I'm just going to kind of skip through some of these hellos so we can. Here we go.
Yeah, Todd Michael here is referring to a Norwegian cult movie called Kill Bolio, the movie. Okay. He's done some Googling. I can tell because I know Todd Michael, and I don't think his knowledge of Norwegian movies is that good like any American, I guess. But yeah, it is. It's a cult movie in Norway.
Todd Michael says, "Don't dream it, Terje, be it." Okay. He also says, "Swim the warm waters of sin of the flesh." The sins of the flesh, I think.
With quotation marks, so that's obviously
a quote from the movie?
From somewhere. I don't think it's from the movie.
Todd Michael, for your information, RHPS is one of my all-time favorite things. I don't know who that's responding to. Oh, okay. Let me skip some of this stuff.
Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Oh, that. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Slice Night, that is a great cast for Ravenous. It's like a who's who of like character actors, and they go really well together. The chemistry between Robert Carlyle and Guy Pearce is electric, and I didn't really touch into it, but if you see the movie, you will tell that there are some very strong gay undertones between those two. It's not really fulfilled in any way in the movie, but it is definitely there.
Yeah,
it's there.
Slide Tide said, "I like this plot and cast. Now I want to see this movie." Me too.
Do, and I so want to talk to you about what you think about it. That's been my entire life. It's been the way I love speaking about movies I love to other people who love them. And I also like discussing with people who hate them.
Scotty R37 says, typical cannibal movie. Blah.
There is a typical cannibal movie.
You want to read this one?
Yeah, Manifest Destiny was pretty prevalent amongst European countries too. The British Empire.
Yes, it was.
And let's just say the Vikings.
Slime Size said, is it streaming anywhere? Yes, it is. I don't know for free. I didn't see anything for free though. Unless you have a subscription to Shudder.
It's worth paying for. It's worth.
Yeah. So, but what I, a couple of places I mentioned were like $3.99. So it's not very expensive.
And also, if you want to get it on physical media, Shout Factory has released a great version which has 3 commentary tracks and a making-of documentary, so that's recommended.
Cool. It's got 37 says the Blu-ray is under $20 for physical media fans.
Cool. And if you live outside the US, you can get the German Blu-ray.
I don't have that service. Can't afford anymore. Slide says, no, I know. I can't afford anymore either. It's crazy.
I already have too many.
Yeah. Says great show, Terje. Yeah, it is a great show. It's a fun one.
Thank you.
Quick little fun, and we'll every week it'll be a new movie. And don't forget, this is an interactive show. So comment or either here or comment in the comment section later on if you want us to view a movie or talk about a movie that you think or love as a cult classic.
Yeah, and find us on Facebook.
Yeah.
You can contact us through the website. And of course, this is the first show. Let's just hope that we grow a cool audience. Yeah. Neil McDonough really needs a mention. I mentioned him standing in the stream being the butch guy, but yeah, he does a great job in this movie with his crystal white eyes, and he plays the tough soldier. And he was as tough a soldier as he was tough to eat. Renee Cardona's Survive was my favorite cannibal movie until Ravenous. I have not seen Survive, so that's a movie I'm going to have to write down on my pad to see. Yeah. But cool that you liked that until Ravenous, which reading between the lines, that means Ravenous is now your favorite cannibal movie. Tom Michael says, my 2 quotes were from Rocky Horror Picture Show, guys. I eagerly await Terje's exposure to it, though I wish he could see it in a cinema with a Rocky group. Yeah, I know of the way that movie is viewed in American cinemas. I've never heard of that happening in Norway, but maybe it's something that can happen. Oh, I do have to mention something cool. Tomorrow, I am going to Oslo to watch Ravenous at the Cinematheque in 35mm.
That's awesome.
That is awesome. And that's something that's being put together by a guy I know who has this thing called, translated, it is the Disturbed Movie Saloon.
Yeah, nice.
And once a month, they pick a movie that they show, which is in many cases a cult movie or a movie that is kind of outside the general spectrum of a movie.
That's a good name for a podcast.
Yeah.
Todd Michael says, I need to find my pics of me and Eddie from when I used to do Rocky Horror in 1990.
Me as Eddie.
Me as Eddie. I'm sorry. Thank you. Yeah, those are great round price. $3.99 is easy. Let's see. A couple more here, and then we'll call it a day, Terje.
Yeah.
Todd Michael says, I don't recall seeing any cannibal movies such as these. I had never seen Cannibal Holocaust or Cannibal Ferox.
Oh, two great cannibal movies.
Those are two of my favorites. I would say
Italians made a lot of cannibal movies.
Yeah, and I'll say I think Cannibal Holocaust is my favorite cannibal movie, and another cult classic.
Lost footage genre.
Footage, yeah.
Great soundtrack. Yeah, Ravenous in a cinema. Norwegians get all the cool stuff. We really do.
So.
I'll take a couple of pictures and shove up on the Facebook page tomorrow.
You get to see Dune early too, you bastard.
Yeah, there's a rumor about.
Speaking of another cult classic,
Dune.
That's another cult classic, right?
Yep, I have pre-ordered the David Lynch Dune from Arrow, my favorite boutique for those culty movies.
Oh yeah, Survive. It's about the soccer team that crashed in the Andes Mountains.
Oh,
much more exploitative and gorier than Frank Marshall's Alive. Yeah, I think I've seen the Survive one. I think I passed on Alive though. It didn't look as good.
I've only seen Alive, so I really do need to see Survive. Yeah.
All right, dude. So that's gonna do it for today's show. It was a fun little show, right? Great movie. I gotta go. I gotta see it. So it's definitely getting rented and watched this weekend.
Cool, and I hope Slice Night also does.
Yeah.
So the only thing remaining then is that I'm going to announce what we're going to speak about next week.
That's right.
Next week we will be speaking about another truly culty classic movie, and that will be Howard the Duck.
Howard the Duck. Perfect.
And we will have a special guest next Thursday.
Yes, we will.
We will. And it is a guy called... Well, let's just keep it secret for now. Should we?
Yes, we should. Yep, you'll just have to tune in next
week. A little
week.
teaser, yeah.
You have to tune in next Thursday at the same time to...
let's just say he knows a lot about Howard the Duck.
He does.
He does.
We did... Oh, look at this. Let me share the screen just real quick. Before we go, because we did get... It looks like a super sticker from...
Wow.
Yeah, from Peter. Peter, I'm not even
Peter Cruikshanks.
Yeah, Cruikshanks. Awesome. Thanks, dude.
I think he donated some gold he must have stolen from some pirate ship, I think.
Yeah. Awesome. So thank you very much for that. We do appreciate those.
We do.
Okay, so I think that'll do it. Next week is going to be Howard the Duck. If you haven't seen Howard the Duck, get on it.
Yeah.
And if you haven't seen Howard the Duck like I haven't in a long time, get on it. So we'll
do it again.
We have two homework assignments for this week coming up. Obviously come back next Thursday and every Thursday for more Cult Classic Movie Corner. Also coming up in about 25 minutes of the Fantasmagorium show. Also on this channel, every Monday night, Set to Stun. Every Wednesday night is Martini's Gadgets and Guns. And Thursdays is this great show, the new one, Cult Classic Movie Corner. So for Terje, I am Steve Foley. Have a great day, everybody.